it's Steve Mills, back with the Results Mastery podcast. It's great to be back. And don't forget, if you've not already subscribed, please do so. You can find me all over the web in terms of iTunes, Amazon Music, Spotify, and so on and so forth. And it's great to have people that I can help as part of my podcast. So, welcome. As I said, thank you for being here. Today, I want to talk to you about lead generation. And I want to talk to you specifically about how to generate more leads, because this is one of the big things that really small businesses fail with, to be honest. And when you consider that 8 out of 10 small businesses that start up this year will go bust within the next 5 years. That's an alarming statistic. That's terrible. These businesses have put all their time, money, and effort. They've learned a skill or they know how to do something, whatever that may be. They've become really good at it. They've probably left a job that paid them to do that in order to build more wealth for themselves and to grow their business. And then all of a sudden they've failed. Why have they failed? Often it's due to lack of lead generation or poor lead generation, poor quality leads, as well as a limited number of those leads. So that's what I want to talk about. I hear a lot of businesses all the time telling me things like, or when I get to speak to people, I'm really good at converting. I convert a significant amount of business, but I'm just not managing to talk to enough people. And the one thing I can tell you based on 30 years experience, which I've got, and that is that the more people you speak to, the more money will end up in your bank account. However, and this is an important point, don't think that you don't need to train yourself to be better at selling, because the truth of the matter is you do. We should never, ever, ever stop learning. And one of the key skills for you, if you are really focused on growing your business, is to become better at selling and marketing your business. If you think about it, it's just pretty logical stuff, this. If you want to grow your business, what have you got to do? And specifically, when I say grow, you don't want to grow your income, you want to grow your profit. Because the old saying is that income is vanity, profit is sanity. I might say to you, look, my business is going great. I'm now turning over £1 million a month. And you say, well, that's fantastic, Steve. Tell me, what are your costs? I say, oh, they're £1.2 million a month. That ain't so good. I'm losing £200,000 a month. That's not true in my case, but I'm just using that as an example. Do you get and understand that? So the only real, well, not the only real number, but the main real number that we need to focus on in terms of growing our business is to grow our profit. Sure, it's great to get more income coming in, but not without profit. So we need to make sure profit is in place before we leverage the business. Now, there are only two ways that I'm aware of anyway of growing your profit. And that is, one, you can reduce costs, and two, you can increase sales. Let's take the first one. Now, reducing costs is always a good thing to do, and I'm sure that you can do it in some way, at some level. You can cut back on something. You can save 2% here, 3% there. You can maybe remove things that you're buying right now that you don't really need, and you could maybe save 5%, 10%, maybe as much as 25% of your costs. And you could do that, not only do it, but you could probably do it today. That's the truth. So go ahead and do that to start with. Let's try and reduce some of your costs and perhaps then take those costs and stick them into the other element of improving your profit, and that is increasing sales. And if you think about increasing sales, there are really three ways of doing that. One, you can get more customers. Two, you can increase the average amount of money each customer spends when they buy from you. And three, you can increase the frequency of repurchase. In other words, to get those current customers to buy from you again and again and again. Now, to give that a supermarket metaphor, you've got to get more people in the door. You've got to get them to fill their baskets more with either more products or more expensive products, and you've got to get them to come back again and again and again and buy from your supermarket. It's, it is as simple as that. But it's something that so many people don't do. What do? They spend all their time, money, and effort from a marketing perspective trying to get new clients. And it's the hardest, most Sorry about that. My phone just went off. I should have turned it off, shouldn't I? There we go. I'll turn it off now. So, where was I? Oh, yeah. This is the hardest, most expensive, most challenging part of growing your profit, getting new customers. Now, that doesn't mean you shouldn't be doing it. You definitely want to be doing that. But there's an opportunity that's often, I call it low-hanging fruit, where you're not really maximizing your current clients. You're not going back to them. You're not offering them additional services. You're not trying to tie them into some sort of package deal where they pay a monthly fee, for example. Let's say, for example, you service my car, and at the end of the year, I have to pay a service bill of like, I don't know, £500, something like that. I pay that for my car, and then in a year's time, I maybe get it serviced again. But the problem with that is I might go somewhere else. I might have actually forgot where I got it done last time, even. And if somebody will do it for £400, I might go there instead. However, if you tied me in by saying, look, instead of, being hit by a £500 fee, Steve, what we can do is we can split that over 10 months. So you only pay £50 a month. Would you like to do that? I go, yeah, that'd help. That would, increase my sort of personal cash flow and make it not, oh, I've got a £500 bill this month, So I might do that. And what have you just done? You've tied me in to use your service probably over the next year and the year after and the year after and so on and so forth. And companies do that all the time. So, just think about that and what you might want to do in order to make sure that you're really growing your business. Now, one final thing, and this is an important one. When you are thinking about creating more profit, how fundamentally do you do that? Well, I'd say the one thing that you want to be thinking about is making sure that you make more offers. Make more off, how many offers do you make every month? If you're sending out the occasional social media post, probably doesn't have any offers on it. If you're sending out one email per month and maybe you're doing a little bit of advertising, it's time to up your game. So, if you want to know any more, if you want to meet with me, if you want to find out how to grow your business, set up a meeting. Go to my website. You can see it on the wall behind me if you're watching on video. If you're listening on audio, go to results-mastery.com. Use one of the gold buttons. Set up a free, no obligation meeting with me, and we can have a conversation about how to grow your business. Thanks very much for listening. My name's Steve Mills. Don't forget, sign up to my podcast, subscribe to me on YouTube, follow me or connect to me on LinkedIn, and I look forward to speaking again soon. Thanks very much for listening. So, thank you for listening. And if you've enjoyed this podcast, and even more, if you've benefited from it and you'd like to know more, you'd like more of my help, and you'd like to benefit from my nearly 30 years of experience working with and learning from the leading experts in the world in the area of sales and marketing, then here's what you need to do next. You need to go to my website, which is results-mastery.com, and use the gold button to book yourself a meeting on a one-to-one basis with me. Thank you very much for listening again, and I look forward to speaking to you very, very soon. Thank you.